right. It is time. It is time to rearrange my office. I've tried really hard to put this off, but I need a change. It's not going to be drastic, and maybe this video wasn't even worth filming, but you know what? We're going to do it. We're going to move a few things around. There's a few things that have to stay where they are, and maybe we'll get rid of a few things along the way. Let's go. Okay, so I have finished work, and we are going to rearrange a few things in my office. This shelf has to stay where it is. There's no other wall that has the right size. So this configuration may change, but the actual shelf is staying. This one I have a few options, but I think I might keep it there. There's a vent that it slightly covers, but I almost always have it shut, and that bottom shelf is almost always empty. So I'm not terribly worried about that. Again, the configuration might change. A few things may be gotten rid of or moved around. This has to stay on the wall the way that it is. It is screwed to the wall. I'm not moving that. Don't look. I don't think I've shown you guys that yet. Maybe I have. This is my sewing table. Can you tell? Because I can't get to it. It is going to stay the way it is, obviously, but I need this. All needs to make its way into a lot of these shelves. I can't use my sewing machine because it's blocked. I do think I'm going to move a few things that are on these shelves, though. I have my sewing machine, accessories, and cover, and my overlocker. Those will stay there, but I think I might move these things so that my sewing accessories that are in the closet can actually come out here and be used. The loom might be able to be moved, and the blanket ladder, I'm not too terribly worried about that, but this is going to go under my desk, which is a standing desk, and then I'm going to move the cat tower, which isn't really a tower, it's like a cave, over here, and in hopes of moving my couch sideways up against the window. And I can't get to these guys without like stretching on the couch, and I can't get to a lot of this, which I want to be accessible, without like scaling my couch. So we're going to move a few things around and see what happens. So the first thing I want to do is I want to move anything that is on this desk that does not have to do with sewing, move these crates and extras off of this side shelf and temporarily into my hallway so that I have some clean space to work with and I can see exactly what actually needs to find a new home on the shelves. The other thing I'm going to do is behind this couch I have some bins and baskets of yarn that I need to destash, and because it's out of sight, out of mind, I haven't actually listed them for destash, so they're just sitting languishing when someone else could be using them. So I'm going to crawl behind my couch because I don't feel like moving it quite yet and pull out anything that is back there and again move it into the hallway for staging. The other thing I'm going to do while I'm thinking about it, you can't see it right now, but I'm going to clean off my desk. There's just a bunch of detritus. Oh, that's a big word. I haven't used that in a while. There's just stuff that actually doesn't need to live on my desk that is making working a little less efficient because I'm focusing on keeping to a small area instead of being able to stretch out and use all of the usable area that is around me. So I'm gonna quickly do that, and yeah, hopefully then I will have a bit more space to move around and move some furniture and things. So I'm not quite sure what I want to do with this lamp yet. I don't really like using my overhead lighting, especially in videos. Oh, that's where that went. The ring holder for the back of my phone. Anyway, so I'm just going to move this kind of out of the way. You'll kind of probably see it in other clips. I don't want to fill my hallway. This is why it's full. I don't want it to be any more. Anyway, so I'm just gonna kind of move this around as needed. Yeah, let's keep going. Okay, so I'm getting warm and I'm starting to get tired. So I'm going to, I think, put my hair up, and I've got plenty of room over here next to the couch, but I'm gonna move it over just a bit more so I have full access to all of this, and I'm going to start rearranging this shelf to kind of fit my needs now that I have gone through quite a bit of stash, in my opinion at least, and kind of changed the way that I'm using my stash as well. Changed my clothes. I'm going to use the spoons and the energy that I have while I have it. I'll pay for it later, but let's go. So this is what I use to hold my collection of think tape measures. I bought it off of Etsy, and it connects to my IKEA pegboard. I will put the link below for you guys, but I'm going to fast forward and reorganize this. So I'm going to kind of walk you through what's on some of these shelves and kind of why I am reorganizing these and my office. So back here, where I can't even see them, is my basket of fine 100% cotton. I have I've got 5 skeins of it, and I plan to make wraps to sell at online, either on my website or at an upcoming winter craft market. But with them stuffed back there, I forget about them. I could probably get through most of these in about a month if I actually just get them done. So I want to move them out of this back corner. Next, I have a couple of knitting books. I've got some up here, and I would like to get them more visible so that I can actually reach for them. So I'm going to move those out. And then here is a potential project. Excuse me. I frogged it. I added a few extra skeins to it to make it into something new. And because it's sitting back here behind the couch, not anymore, I can't see it. So I don't know that it's there. It's getting moved. Next, I have a whole basket of project bags. Now, project bags, I know they exist, and I don't need to see them because I will find one when I need one. It's not one of those that I need to see it to know that it's there. I know that these are here, so I'm going to set this aside to organize them, and then I'm probably going to move them down here. Up here is another basket with project bags, but also I keep any usable, resealable, clear plastic bags that I get in shipments or anything like that. It helps me organize my mini skeins. It also helps me organize any leftovers that I plan to use for projects that I want to be able to see and not hide away in a project bag. So I plan to combine these 2 project bag baskets and move them down here to the very bottom. And I'll do that in a few minutes. Ash has joined me, and She's checking out the room. She's only ever seen it one way because we've only had her for 2 months. So I haven't reorganized or removed any furniture around with her in the area. So she's creeping around and sniffing around. All right, next couple baskets that I've got. I have, this is called my pick-me basket. Well, formerly called my pick-me basket. Anytime a friend or family member who was knit-worthy would want me to make them something, I would tell them to go to this basket of yarn that I'm not in love with, but don't hate enough to destash. Now it has become the project basket or yarn basket for anything that I knit for charity. So these are all yarns that I've fallen out of love with or have been gifted and aren't really my style. I do plan to keep these in this basket, but I think I'm going to move it over and up. So then I can still easily access it and add and subtract from it, because sometimes I fall back in love with the yarn. But I do want to eventually get this out of this basket and onto my pink cart, which currently holds all of my charity knitting yarn. So I'm just going to move it over for right now, and then if I have time to clean off the cart, I will move this onto the cart. Not the basket, just the yarn. Alright. Next I have, I don't even know what I would call this, potential projects that I don't have patterns for yet, but I want to keep together as a project. It's a really long name, but it works. Anyway, I've got my neon mini skeins. I do not have the black skein in here. That goes with them because I don't think it would, well, it would fit, but it's not necessary. I know that it goes with this. As soon as I pick this up, I know that this goes with black for stripes. Just not sure which pattern yet. This was supposed to be a mini mock neck tank. I don't know if it still will be, but it will be a tank top of some sort. So I know these all need to be together. And there I'm using, again, a clear resealable shipping bag. This, you can't really see it through the bag on camera, but it is a mini skein set of gradient purples that I would like to make something out of or add to something. So I'm keeping them together, just not sure what pattern yet, because I know if I put them in with my solid yarn, they will get lost. I want to keep them together. Here's another mini skein set of gradient speckled grays in another reusable shipping bag. Again, wanted to keep it together. Don't have a pattern quite yet, but I do know that I want to add these to this. I want these to be the sleeves on a sweater. I think that that would be really cool to have a solid colored sweater with striping gradient sleeves. So I'm on the lookout. Here is another one. A speckle, a variegated, and a solid that I want to knit all together. Just not sure what I want it to be yet. So I do tend to sometimes when I'm shopping for yarn or when I'm reorganizing my stash, I'll find things that I like how they go together, and I'll kind of keep them together in a basket like this. And then every time I need a little bit of inspiration or I find a new pattern, I look here first. Because if I look here first, I can use what I already have, and maybe I will come across yarn that I already have set aside for a project that is perfect for that pattern. And that's happened a few times before. Here I have a kind of a gradient. This is a pink with orange, an orange with pink and yellow, and a yellow with pink and orange. That sounded a little confusing, but you can see. Anyway, I want to put these together. I'm just not, again, sure of the project. These, I know the project, and because they came already caked up, I don't want to put them in with my skeins. And I'm just not sure what I want to use for my main color for this. This is for the, I believe it's called the Fleetwood sweater by Tanis Fiber Arts. It is a worsted weight sweater with DK weight granny squares in the center. So I bought a pastel and a brights in a DK weight of these mini skeins, and I want to make the granny squares with these. I'm just not sure what color I want to make the rest of the sweater. So until I make that decision, these are going to stay in here. I'm going to move this, I believe, over down here where it's still accessible, but I don't necessarily need to see it, like these yarns that don't quite have even a project type in mind. So anyway, next I have self-striping yarn. Most of this is hand dyed. There's a few commercial in here, but this is all my personal stuff, things that I want to use for myself. I go through this periodically and pick out things that I'm not in love with anymore. They end up in the charity knit bin, which I moved up there. And sometimes I'm at a loss as to what to do with all of this self-striping. I used to be a purely sock knitter when I first started knitting. All I knit was socks. Hats here and there, but mostly socks. And so I have a lot of self-striping. Up here, I've got self-striping skeins and then also self-striping commercial. And then there's more that just doesn't fit. It's full. So I feel like these could be used for sleeves or cuffs or things like that. Or you know what? I'll hold on to them, and when I get back into sock knitting, which eventually I might again, I will have these. Or, you know, if I fall out of love with a color, it can go into the charity knitting basket. So I'm just going to scoot these over a few because I want to make a little bit more room on some of these shelves that are not being used. Like I said, I had almost 3 or 4 empty shelves that now can be used. So I'm going to scoot these over. Whew. Next, I have my solids and semi-solids. These are not whole skeins. These are partially used. You're going to find commercial in here. You're going to find hand-dyed. Oh, this is a full skein, but it's commercial, so it's in here. Most of the time I use this Stroll by Knit Picks to pair with, to make hats for charity. So some of them are on winderfuls, some of them are balls, others are skeined or caked. So there's nothing too fancy here. I use these for scrap projects or when I need to add an extra color to something. These aren't going anywhere except for over a little bit. I put them right above my self-striping. Okay, so up here, I have some colder weather projects that I'm not really quite in the mood to do yet, so I'm going to move these down here. I'm also going to move my whips down a little closer to the couch. So yeah. So I have this right here that is full of commercial wool that I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with yet. I want to move this into these pink baskets, which are a bit wider. And then I'm also going to move the the fine weight 100% cotton into the second one, and I'm going to move it down to the bottom. Okay, so here's where we're at so far. I want to make it. I have 2.5 empty up here and 1 empty down there. The goal is to make all of the yarn basically take up most of the top and then kind of move some of these other things around. I'd like to move possibly my patterns books over and maybe move these tools into something different and move these over. I just want all my yarn in one spot, and I still have stuff in the hallway. So I've got 3 bins here with projects that I plan to start soon. So I'm going to put those on these 2 shelves, and then the ones that I plan to knit actually next, I'm going to put in this basket, and I'm going to put it up closer to the front. So I'm going to kind of show you what I have. First is this right here. It is the Bounce Blanket by Tin Can Knits. I am planning to cast this on soon. So for my main color, I'm using Cascade Heritage color 5734. It is this pretty, almost opal-y moonstone gray, which I think is perfect for the Geode collection from Hue Loco. So that is going to go right in this bin, because that's going to go on soon, like in the next week or so. The next thing I have is, let me switch this, is the Me Time Tea by Jen Geigley. I am planning, let's try that. Stick that in there. I am knitting it out of Junk Yarn DK in the color Usagi. So I think I have just enough yardage for that. I just caked one up to do a swatch. Let's see, what else do I have in here? Ugh. Next I have the Yapa or the Yapa Vest by Manos del Uruguay. And I am knitting that in Cascade Heritage again in 5672 and 5742. It's a mottled gray and a black. I'm not knitting that for a while, so I'm going to stick it in this thing. I did cake up for making a swatch, and I have not done that yet. Okay, this one, I think, this one is, okay, so the Nebula is not happening yet. I'm ordered yarn for that. But I have the Traveler's Shell, which I do plan to knit soon. I'm going to put it in this basket. That is by Andrea Mowry. I am knitting that out of Knit Picks Hawthorne in Blackbird Kettle. So that can go in here. And I think I'm just going to stick to 3 knits in this one. 3 projects. Let's see, what else do I have? The Color Tip Tee by Emily Curtis, Gently Chaotic Knits. I have this picked out for that. I've got 3 mini skeins from the new Hedgehog Fiber colors. I've got Sun Shower, Wildflower, Seahorse, Lavender Fields, and Moonstone. And then I'm matching that up with Cascade Heritage 5614. And it's coming off a lot more purple. It's more of a periwinkle lavender in reality. What else do I have in here? I've got this blanket is actually up there, so I'm going to stick this pattern in this basket, but it's not actually, the yarn isn't in this basket. Oh, here we go. The Alpine Bloom. Oh, here comes Jingles. Ash has a little jingle bell on her collar, and she's mad at me because I put the vampire bat squishmallow on top of the cat tree so she can't get to the window. Anyway, I'm going to be knitting the Alpine Bloom out of On the Round Cottage Fingering in Vintage Pink, and then I'm matching it with some Cascade Heritage Wave in the color 516. So let's stick that in here because that's something that I have to get up the courage to start. It is stranded color work, which I have not done before, and it's a little bit scary. I also have the Skylights Tee by Tanis Fiber Arts. I'm planning to knit that out of Knit Picks Muse Fingering in the Delight Speckle color. I think that's the last one that will go in this basket. Here we go. So that's one. Perfect. Now I've got the Petite Knit Friday Tee. I'm going to be knitting that out of Stranded Dye Works Merino Nylon Fingering in the color Sweet Treat. And then I'm matching it with Coats & Co. Cottage Sock in the fuchsia color to kind of pick out those fuchsia speckles. So that goes in there. And then I have the Compliment Sweater. That is by Strickakaffa. It is a striped sweater, and I am going to be using Swan Island organic merino wool in their iCat collection. I picked this up at the Great Lakes Fiber Fair in a grab bag. It was 2 skeins, and this is their iCat collection Firefly in the color Firefly Stonewall and Firefly Sea Salt. And I'm mixing that with some Space Cadet yarn and their Ester fingering in the color Look Up. So I think that that'll be fun. Blue and gray. The other thing I'm going to add into this basket, even though I'm waiting on some yarn, is the Nebula by Ray Maintenance, and can't reach it. My plan is to, my plan is to pair some Cascade Heritage Silk with some That Yarn Habit Cloud Surrey in the color Highlighter Pink. So I'm going to add that to this basket because I know I already have plans for that yarn. Just waiting for my order to come in. And that is going to go there. I love that. Projects, 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 projects. All right. So that leaves me with these 2 projects, which I haven't actually talked to you about yet. I'll talk to you about them in another video. So I did take the yarn for charity out. I'm going to put it on my rolling cart. And I think I'm going to put my rolling cart here. And that will kind of force me to keep the couch away from the bins, away from the shelf. And then if I need to get to it, I'll just roll the cart out. And that is almost no effort at all. I think I have room for one more project in one of these containers. I almost forgot about this container. So this project I'm actually going to put in here because I don't have a pattern for it yet. It's going to be a bit messy because some of the skeins are in little balls, but we're going to make it work. And now it has a home, and I have an empty bin. So while I was cleaning, I found this bag full of yarn labels. And these are all things that I have wound up to use or have used this year. So I am interested to know how many there are. So let's count. $77. And these aren't even all of the ones I've used this year or wound up this year, because I only started doing this, I think, in February. And some of the yarn I used didn't even have labels because I had wound it up previously. Or I just threw the label out and did not stuff it in there. And I don't remember why I decided to start that. I don't think I'm going to continue. It's just taking up room, and I'm not keeping the labels to count them. I'm counting them as I finish the projects, and I've got all of that in my Knit and Note app. So I'm not worried about this. I'm going to throw this away, and then I'll show you guys what the room looks like. So here we are. Everything, I did not mess with those, but I feel like this is a nice change. I even cleaned off my desk. My lamp's still there. But this is the idea. I've got my TV here where I can stream things. I rearranged my pegboard so that the things I use the most, my scissors, my measuring tape, crochet hooks, and things, are closest to me. This pulls out, and I've got project bags down there, projects, and projects. And this whole cart, minus a couple skeins of knit picks, is all charity knitting. And then these are a couple of widths I need to finish. Just kind of slide it right in next to my couch. And then I can still get to these bins if I need to. Solids, cotton, commercial wool, self-striping. Things I need to show on the podcast. Blocking. This is a big project I have to really kind of sit down and plan. These are Next Up whips. We've got DK, Sport, fingering singles. These are tools in here, whips, books, and my notebooks, fingering solids, mini skeins, fingering weight, and then I have one right here that's DK weight. Fandom yarn. This is all variegated yarn here. Sweater quantities, t-shirt quantities. This is for that Stephen West geometric blanket, self-striping, and more books. I didn't do anything to the top here, and I really didn't change anything around here. I will deal with this another day. I am tired. But this is all my needles and notions. I've got some tools here and then just some randomness there. I keep my ends. Not sure why, I just do. Some more tools, and then that is a project that I'm still planning. I moved my dress form over here, and then this is my sewing station. These are the 3 works in progress I'm working on right now. My laptop, personal laptop, some sewing tools. Down here is D-stash and a gift, and then back there I need to frog those. Say hello to my pretty pink cane. I'll probably need it tomorrow after this. I moved my long-term scrap blanket over here, and then of course we have our little cat cave with a nice window view. I didn't move anything back here. Maybe later, I don't know. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I am hot and sweaty, but I feel very accomplished moving this stuff around. Sometimes just moving a few things and rearranging some things can help motivate you to work on other things or to get rid of things that you aren't using anymore. Sometimes it helps give me just a new perspective on things. And yeah, now that everything's kind of moved around again, I feel like I have a fresh, brand new office. It's a really nice. I know I'm going to pay for it tomorrow, but I think it was worth it. Now, it has been a few days, about a little over a week since I filmed that. So I have done a bit more moving things around. I organized some more. I also went through my destash and I listed it all on Ravelry. So the link will be down below if you want to check out my destash. Everything is up there. I also got a few more bins and sorted out a couple more patterns that came up that I had yarn already set aside for. And so far, I'm really loving my setup. I want to thank you again for enduring this long video and all of my grunting and groaning and breathing hard. I definitely paid for it the next day, but again, it was worth it for me to kind of rearrange a few things, even if it took a while, and give myself, a new version of my office. It really did help quite a lot. I've knocked out a few projects already and got some new things planned in the works. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time.